All right, welcome. Um, Today I want to talk to you a little bit about an answer I wrote. Again, the link will be in the description about what makes a person truly happy. Um, I don't want to do that many list articles, but those are the ones that work best on Quora or list videos. So we're gonna go over just the 5 principles that I wrote down here for now, and we'll see if I can make more specific videos later on. The first one I wrote down is that you want to live your life the way you want to if you really want to be happy. And by that, I mean you just want to be free. You don't want to live a life where you feel like you have to do something or where you feel like the decision was never yours. Now, that doesn't mean that you should never go to your job again because you did choose that at one point, but it should have been an active choice that you've made. And when you do things that you want to do, you stand behind those things more. This is your life at the end of the day. At the end of your life, you're the only person that has to look back on this and be okay with whatever has transpired, for better or for worse. So if you're not making the decisions, then someone else will. But the problem is that that person can never take your spot. They can never be you. The only thing that they can do is kind of guide you and hope that it works out for you the same as it did for them, but it's very unlikely to happen. Because they're not you, they're not going to make the same experiences, it's just not going to work the same way. When you're totally free, when you're really the one deciding, that means you're not trying to impress anyone, not trying to be a certain way or act a certain way or have a certain thing. You're just doing it because you want to. Now, maybe you don't want the immediate thing, but you want the end thing. And that allows you so much more freedom in that choice. It allows you to really dive into it more. For example, me making these videos. I do not really care who watches them. This is just for whoever gets value out of this. And if people do, great. But I'm not trying to do it because I've been told to do this. I'm not trying to do this because I think other people will generally like him. I don't even think people will watch him that much. But that's okay. I'm doing this because I choose to. And that holds with it a completely different power. That's why I can appear here very casually, very just relaxed, and just do it the way I want to, and not really try to listen in. Not very good business advice, but we're not going for that. We're going for really being happy here. And for that, you want, like, I've discussed this with many coaches, and it's one of those things where it's much simpler than it first appears. Happiness in the end is choosing to do more of what you want and less of what you don't want. That's essentially it. Of course, there's an incredible amount of detail and it gets way more complicated the deeper you look into this, but at the core, that is it. And that's at the core what your day should be like. Even if your job is something that you don't like and you should do it for something that you do enjoy later down the road, or for some higher purpose, or for some other reason. If you don't have any of that, you will likely hate it all the time and you will never really enjoy yourself. You will always feel restricted and it will always feel like you are not in control. And that takes away so much of the happiness you can have. Think about kids. Right? Kids, even though they have to go to school, they still make the most of it. They try to have as much fun as possible. When they're at a restaurant, they will play with the food, they will run around, they will scream, they will do whatever they can because at their highest goal is joy. That's all they want to have. The rest doesn't really matter. So no matter where they are, what they're doing, that's what they're shooting for. It might be a tough track for some of you. It might not be that immediate, but if you just do more of the things that you want to do, or do the things that you want to do more the way you want to do them, it'll start to release some of these restrictions you've put on yourself. Again, like always, try this out yourself instead of listening to me and see what the experience holds. I would challenge you for a week to just dive deeper into the things that you enjoy, not really trying to progress or do better or for any other reason other than you want to. Test it out. The second one I have is worry less about things that don't matter. I don't know how to put that any simpler than it's already there. Because, I mean, what's the point in worrying about it? You can't control it. If it doesn't matter anymore, if it's gone, then it's gone. You can't take it back. You can't go back in time, especially not with the knowledge you now have. Whatever situations have passed, whatever happened to you, it is gone. Now, if it's still affecting you in some way, then it does still matter, and maybe that deserves some worry and some action to deal with it. But there's so many things that we worry about that we just cannot change anymore. Or even if we can change them, we think we can, and we don't do anything about them. Like, for instance, oh, I fell out with my friends and I don't know, like, we haven't talked in so long and I feel so much regret for that. Then go talk to them. Go online and send them a message. It doesn't have to be that complicated. But stop worrying about things that you're not going to do anything about. Either change it or let it go. That's the two options you have. Everything else, everything in the middle, worrying about it and not taking action and not worrying about it even though you should, everything else that's in the middle just makes it more complicated. Makes your life more of a mess. Let's see what else I wrote down here. Right. And the other side of this is don't worry so much about the future either. Don't worry so much about things that won't kill you. Just because you embarrass yourself in front of your friends, or because you ask someone out and they say no in a very degrading way, just because you get fired or because of something else that happens, it doesn't mean your life is over. That part of your life may be over. Maybe you don't get what you wanted to get, but it doesn't ruin life entirely. This doesn't kill you. Doesn't make you stronger necessarily, that's a pretty old saying too, but there's another step afterwards. Too many people keep thinking that when something bad happens, that's the end. They don't think beyond that point. A really good exercise for this that I do with a lot of clients is think about what then. Think about the worst situation and what would happen afterwards. Think about that horrible thing that you worry about and what would happen afterwards. What would you do afterwards? Let's assume that happens. What is your exact action? And that usually releases a lot of the blockages because it's not that final. There's still options for you. Okay. Point number 3 is be grateful for what you have. I know, cliche, I know everybody says that, but it's just so true. This is really hard to explain without you having experienced it, but the point is that no matter how far you get, no matter how much you get, no matter what you do, every time you get somewhere further, if you're not grateful for what you have, there will be another layer. There will be another level. There will be other people that have what you now want to have. You will never be satisfied until you become satisfied in the moment. And until you just say, hey, this is good. I'm okay where I'm at. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be your ideal life. You don't have to settle for that life either. You just have to be okay with it and like it. Enjoy where you are. That doesn't mean you can't go further. That doesn't mean you can't do more. That doesn't mean you can't ask for more. But for now, just be okay with it. And be grateful for the things that you do have, instead of focusing so much on the things that you don't have. Like with the other 2 points, happiness is mostly a mentality thing. It's mostly about you focusing on the things that you can control, the things that do make you happy, and letting those other things go. Not entirely. Sometimes it still is very beneficial to look at them, but more of the time. In most of your day, you want to be thinking positively, and you want to act positively. That gets you the most happiness. So just try to stand outside and be grateful for whatever it is that you have. Whatever you can think about that you are actually grateful for. Don't fake this. But try to get into it as best as you can. Even if you don't have that much right now, really focus on the things that you do have. Okay. Now we're getting to a more interesting point, in my opinion, and that's achieve personal success in what matters. We're all different. We all have different kind of aspects that we enjoy and different things that we think mean a lot in life, things that we think have value, and those don't always those don't always overlap with the values of other people. What that means is that, for example, if you think that world hunger is one of the worst things in the world, if you think that matters, then you should try to dive deeper into that and really do something about it. If that's a value that you have, and if you have experience with that, and if for some reason this strikes you as something really big, then focus on it. Do the things that matter to you, not to other people. Screw other people. They don't matter. It's not their life to live. It's your life to live. So try to look at what you think really holds value in your life, what you think maybe other people of value do, what defines them as being valuable, what defines a life as being meaningful, and then try to dive deeper into this. You want to really try to not change yourself to adapt to whatever the world throws at you, but sail your own ship and sail it as fast as you can. Even if that is a little dinghy, you just row that as fast as you can possibly row it. It doesn't matter, but just follow your own course a bit more. And the more involved you can get with in the things that you think matter, or that you think hold value, or that you think are amazing or beautiful or whatever, the more value you will get out of life. The more self-confidence you get, and the more like internal baseline happiness you will get. It's not the laughing out loud, having fun type of happiness, but it's the general joy that you would have thinking back on it. If someone asked you how was your day, you would say more often that it was good when you developed this level. So try to achieve success in the things that matter to you. That being said, this success should also be your own success. So you'll have different versions of that as well, depending on the thing. Some people have a different body success, for example, than others. Achieve your own version of success, but really do the work for it. That's going to be the best way. And another really good one, another one that you probably won't like that much, is say yes to what scares you and no to what bores you. If you think this is going to be boring, just don't do it. That's the end of the story. Just try as much as possible not to get involved in those activities, even with close friends. Give them another option. Try to do something else with them, but try as much as you can to say no to those things. Because if you're going in it with a attitude of, oh, this is going to be so boring already, you're not going to have fun, or it's going to be very difficult at the very least. You want to really choose more of your own life. I mentioned that in point 1, and I'm just going to reiterate it here. Really try to choose for you what you want to do. And if it's something that bores you, just don't do it. But if it's something that scares you a little bit, that you feel uncomfortable with, try it at least once. Disclaimer here, because I did get comments about this, that doesn't mean you have to go jump out of a plane without a parachute or off a cliff, right? We're not that extreme. Please keep a little bit of realism in here. I do as well. But I do get comments like this all the time, so I have to make this point here now. What I mean is these little discomforts. You also shouldn't go, if you have social anxiety, go into the middle of the street and start screaming your heart out. Don't do that either. Do it do it with things that are slightly uncomfortable or slightly new or slightly unusual or that slightly scare you. You don't have to take these big, huge steps. You can, and I will say that it will do more good if you do it, but every little step counts more than one big step. So please do what you can. Don't overexert yourself. If you don't have the capacity for it, just let it go. Don't do it. But do try to say yes to a couple more things. If you're unsure of them, if you feel like this will be uncomfortable, try it out. At least once. Give it a shot. Most of the time you'll realize it's not that bad or it's not that scary. Really good exercise for this. This is something that I've gone in depth in another answer. I'm not sure if I can find it again. Is to challenge yourself every day. Give yourself some challenges in the things that you already do to the point where it gets a little uncomfortable. A really good example is when you're exercising, do one more set or a couple more reps than you're usually doing. Or when you take a walk outside, try to say, good day in a more uplifting, in a nicer way, and maybe lead into a small conversation, just a small chit chat with strangers that you see on your walk. Something of that degree. Obviously, depending on where you live, that might be different. Again, a little bit of realism here. But things that you're already doing, try to get a little bit deeper into those, a little bit challenging into those. If you do all of these 5 things, just as a review, if you live your life the way you want to, if you worry less about things that don't matter, if you're grateful for what you have, if you achieve personal success in what matters, and if you say yes to what scares you and no to what bores you, you will lead a larger life. You won't necessarily have more joy fun, not more laughter. For that, go watch a comedy special or something. But you'll have your life will be happier at a base level. And I think that weighs much heavier and much more than than just laughter does. Because laughter is very fleeting. You don't laugh all day, every day. That would be a bit too much. But you want to feel good and you want to feel generally happy. So maybe we should make a difference here. That would be joy. Maybe happy is good enough, but we do have to make that discrepancy here. But that's why I wrote this, right? Why I wrote these points to the question, what makes a person truly happy? Because again, these laughter things are fleeting. These are things that are much deeper rooted. They require a lot more action. They require a lot more discomfort, but they go a lot deeper too. But again, don't believe me. Try out the challenges. Try it out for yourself. Again, I'll link it. I'll link the answer in the description below. See what happens. Test it out for yourself. Try it a little bit, and if you're not happier, come back to me, complain, tell me your experiences, and I'll make a video on that. All right? Okay. I think that's it for today. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.